My name's Niran.
My name is Pepper, and welcome to the AOR Talkshow.
Here we go.
Hello there guys, and welcome back to the AOR Talkshow. After 1 week of absence due to the break week on the AOR calendar, we're finally back, and we'll be discussing what can happen at the British track of Silverstone for round 6 of the calendar. But before, we have a very interesting German Grand Prix to analyze, and as always, with me it's Niran.
Yes, hello and welcome everyone watching. Oh man, I'm looking forward to the preview of the German Grand Prix. Again, if you haven't seen it already, there'll be a link in the description, hopefully, it's for you to go and watch. And as ever, as I seem to have said every single time, it's well worth watching, because it was an absolute stonker of a Grand Prix with some actual battling for the lead this time as well, to make it even better. But yeah, as Pepper said, we are here to look at the last round in Germany and also preview the next round, which is in Britain at Silverstone. If only it was at Donington Park, but still, it's at Silverstone. And yeah, but for now, let's talk about Germany.
Yeah, and we got a rather surprising pole position with, well, it wasn't Callum, it wasn't Shane, so right from the start, it wasn't, I don't know, we were a bit confused. It was actually Vettel on the Caterham getting pole position on his first run, which led him to retire right after he finished his lap. So a lot of confidence, but the truth is, no one actually beat him for the remaining of the qualifying.
Yeah, he was quick. It's weird. I think we've said this before, that if the Caterhams actually turned up to like more than one race, they'd be sick. And Vettel just came in, obliterated everyone, and then just did the best mic drop ever. Retired from the qualifying session, and no one was able to beat him. I think Callum was within a tenth, Mazais was within 2 tenths. It was actually a really close qualifying, actually, because the top 10 were covered by 6 tenths, and the top 8 were covered by like 3.5 tenths, which was quite cool to see. But yeah, Vettel came out on top in the Caterham, the Argentinian, which we weren't expecting. It was a pretty poor qualifying from Shane by his own standards. He was only 5th for Williams. So that meant that we had Vettel on pole, Callum in 2nd in the Williams, then Mazais, Prost, Shane, and I think it was Hammer Time in 6th.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really like just complete surprise of a qualifying session.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's fair to say as well that we had the top 10 covered by less than 6 tenths. So similar to what happened last season, really. We had a pretty close qualifying with Philip and Savalista a bit further behind, but I do believe both of them had issues on their hot laps, so maybe we could have everyone within like 1 second or even less.
Yeah.
But I think we need to analyze. Of course, we had Dan missing Austin and China because of his wheel issues, so we were kind of expecting a strong comeback from Dan. He didn't do well in any of the qualifying so far, but getting 7th wasn't exactly the best start for the weekend when you come back.
Yeah, it wasn't helpful at all. He didn't have the greatest of qualifying sessions. I think he still beat his teammate, but you expect him to do that realistically. That's not, you know, derogatory to professional. That's a compliment to Dan. But yeah, it wasn't a great qualifying session. Everyone else seemed to show up in terms of like really bringing some pace to the table that you maybe wouldn't expect, like Vettel. Mazais getting 3rd was sick as well. But yeah, it was a bit. It sort of summed up the weekend, really, to be honest, or the actual qualifying and race for Dan on his comeback. I suppose you can at least blame the comeback and, you know, being rusty perhaps, but he'll be hoping for better at the next round in Britain.
I mean, we were talking. He only finished 3 tenths off pole position, but in terms of position, like it's getting. Dan seems to be getting used to starting, like out of the top 5, and for a driver that wants to win the title, well, I mean, I suppose after all the facts we had about qualifying and race, qualifying isn't like a big deal But still, you don't want to be that champion who always started at the back. And we can see the same to Pepper.
Yeah, it just gives you like, yeah, it gives you far too much work to do in the race, which can be done sometimes, but on a regular basis it makes it just really generally hard. And his 1 lap pace wasn't bad. 3/10 off pole should get you like 3rd or 4th on the grid. It just so happens that on this weekend it was only 7th. Around a kinda shortish lap at the Nürburgring. But yeah, as you said, Pepper starting fairly far down as well. Again, the race didn't go very well for him either. That mistake at turn 1 seemed as if it actually paid dividends later in the lap when all hell broke loose, but then the pace wasn't really there. So for him and Dan, it was quite a disappointing weekend.
Yeah, I think it was a tough weekend for both the Red Bull and the Ferrari boys. But on the other hand, we had, like, for the first time, I mean, we talked about China being a controversial race because of the lead with the late move for Callum for the pits. This time, we had like a very good race for the lead with Vettel involved as well, who started on pole.
Yeah, no controversy either as well. It was nice and clean for the most part, and yeah, it was just a good old battle for the lead, and you could tell it was going to happen, given that Vettel just suddenly had sick pace. Callum, obviously, and Shane, you both expect to be towards the top, so you knew there was going to be some at least 3-way gaggle, and for a bit we had a 4-way battle as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Prost once again. I'm not sure if there's anyone with a worse luck than Prost.
No, I don't think there is.
To be honest, I mean, he was up there. He could have probably have a shot at the win, but obviously a disconnection kind of ruined his plans. But nevertheless, I think if Prost manages to finish a race, I think he can perform a lot better than these 12 places he's getting with the disconnection. So it was sad to see him leave, but still, I mean, I think we're still satisfied after the race by the driving from the top 3, and it was interesting to see that most of the race actually, or at least like a third of it, was not even with Callum. It was just between Shane and Vettel.
Yeah, well, it was difficult for Shane at first because Vettel managed to get away at the start. Obviously, Shane only started, what, 5th on the grid. And there was a bit of sort of wheel banging and bashing going on between Mazais and Callum, who were 2nd and 3rd on the grid. Then there was an accident behind between like Brown and Philip Daring and Hammer Time, I think it was, which sort of split Vettel away from everyone else, basically. Shane came through, managed to pass Callum, and then Shane and Vettel battled for the lead for like the first half of the race, really. And then eventually we saw Callum and Prost get on to the end of it, and we had like a 4-way battle. Eventually it was split into 2 groups of 2 because of strategy, but for a bit we did literally have 4 people gunning for the win. Vettel and Shane overtaking each other. Then when they got sort of messy with each other, Callum came in and sort of stole 2nd, and it was nice, for the most part clean, but it was entertaining racing.
Yeah, absolutely. And a bit further behind, we kind of have a big group as well, with Mazais, Brown, Professional, Dan, Hammer Time, all fighting, while Pep and Philip had their own fight a bit further behind. But the fight for, at that point it was 5th. It was going quite well as well, with Mazais and Brown being the main fighters. However, Mazais had like a little issue. I still don't quite understand what happened, but there was one point after the pit stops where Pepper was actually right behind Mazais, and at the moment, like, Pepper was so far behind. It was very confusing because it seemed that everyone had dropped back, and I don't know. It was very confusing, but still we managed to have a decent job while the pit stops didn't affect anyone's race. So I think we're happy about that. Obviously, Hammer Time with a penalty for technically taking Pepper out, but I think the penalty will be removed. So that will put Hammer Time back in 5th, which will make quite a big difference, especially to the constructors as well. But
yeah, there was a penalty for Brown as well, wasn't there? I can't remember what that was. That for the same incident?
No. That I'm not quite sure, but I do believe it was with Sebalista.
Okay. That's interesting. I was just wondering why he ended up with 10-second penalty as well, because he actually, he finished P4 at the end, but the 10 seconds dropped him down to 5th.
Yeah.
And then obviously Hammer Time got the penalty as well. He would have been 5th had it not been for the penalty right at the end. But yeah, it didn't seem like a messy race really, apart from that incident on the first lap. So yeah, it was a bit strange to see 2 penalties at the end.
Yeah.
2 really big penalties as well.
Yeah, it was a rather interesting start to the race.
Yeah.
We saw 2 Mercedes spinning, a Sauber spinning, a Ferrari going to Narnia at turn 1. It was a very messy first sector, but that fortunately that didn't stop us to watching, I don't know, one of the best races so far in this season, I think.
Yeah, as we've said, there was the great battling for the lead as well, which basically continued to the end. I mean, apart from the first 4 or 5 laps where Vettel was sort of away with the lead, apart from that, there was a great battle going on for the win for basically every single lap and every single stint of the race, between the 2 Williams, between Vettel and between Prost for a bit. As we alluded to, he was again struck by horrible luck at the second stop of the afternoon, and he disconnected again, which is a shame, because you look at Prost and he's down there in 10th in the championship and you're immediately like, oh, he's just not that quick. But he is. Like, every time we have a race and we see Prost race, he is consistently quick. I don't think there's ever been a race where he's disconnected, where he's been doing badly. The only time he's finished a race, he's come second. And every other time he's disconnected, or I think he retired as well in Austin. I can't remember why that was, but yeah, the poor guy, like he has so much bad luck. Hopefully we'll see him make it to the end, because otherwise that would have been a really good 4-way battle in the end, and instead it was a 3-way battle between the 2 Williams, who have just been constantly up there fighting for wins, and also Vettel as well in the Caterham, who was a bit the underdog in this scenario.
Yeah. And I think it was overall pretty good. Just a shame, like, just our predictions didn't go very well.
I can't even remember what my predictions are. I'm going to stop trusting Prost and Pepper. Keep letting me down. What?
You didn't even pick one of those. That's the thing.
Did I not? Did I not?
No. You picked Callum for 2nd, Shane for 3rd, and you picked Dan to win.
Oh,
and Callum for the pole position.
Oh, God's sake. So that's gone well. To be fair, I did actually get 2 of the right people on the podium.
Just on the wrong positions, yeah.
Yeah, wrong positions. So I get like half a mark for that, don't I? Ish, sort of. No, I don't, do I? Let's be honest. About that.
Yeah.
No, probably not. Damn it. I'm proud on 0 points.
Meanwhile, I got Callum to win, so that's my only point. Because I predicted Dan for 2nd, Pepper 3rd, and then to get pole position, just went straight out of the window, really. But
who did you say? Who did you say to get pole position again?
Dan.
Dan, for God's sake, if you're watching, sort it out. Actually, no, don't sort it out, because I'm probably not going to predict you in the top 3.
Revenge.
Kidding.
Revenge.
We'll see what the predictions are later.
Yeah, but nevertheless, it was a rather interesting German Grand Prix, which put Callum only 4 points behind his teammate on the standings. Shane with 85 points, followed by Callum with 81. Mazais continues to do a very impressive run with 58 points, only 27 behind the leader. Obviously, 27 is quite a bit, but after 5 Grand Prix, Mazais hasn't won yet, only has 1 podium, in fact, so it's not too bad, really. And followed by Pepper with 47, which had his worst race of the season so far, if we remove the disconnection in Brazil. Then Hammer Time on 42, Brown with 40, and Dan with 39, with his result as well in 7th. So this is not going too well for most of the drivers. Then there's Professional, Vettel, Prost, Civilista, Belov, and Philip, who remains the last driver on the standing, but it's probably one of the few that has points on every race he finished, despite disconnecting on Austin.
Yeah. Yeah, so as you could tell from that table, we've definitely got a 2-horse race developing. I don't know whether it'll stay like that, but developing at the top of the table. Obviously, Callum did manage to win in Germany, from Shane taking 2nd and Vettel taking 3rd, as I'm guessing you guessed, given what we said earlier. Mazais came 4th. Brown technically was 5th, but Hammer Time might get his penalty removed. 6th went to Professional, 7th Dan, then Hammer Time, and then 9th was Pepper, 10th was Philip, and as Pepper just said, the table is looking as we've said, and the Williams in the top 2 at the moment, 4 points separating them, and then it's basically just a free-for-all from 3rd downwards, isn't it, really? Mazais, Pepper, and then the rest. But yeah, it's looking like a 2-horse race at the top of the table.
Yeah, and I just noticed there's quite an interesting fact. Apart from Civilista, who finished 8th in 2 races in a row, Callum is now the 2nd driver to have finished in the same position in a row for 2 races. Obviously, one in China, now one at Germany. Apart from those 2, no one in 5 races, no one finished in the same position for 2 races in a row.
Well, it's pretty lucky for Callum that position happens to be first.
Yeah.
He managed to get consecutive positions in, but yeah, I think again we've always said this. We've said this so many times. It just shows how mixed up the grid is in this league. That just not quite anyone can finish anywhere, but it is close to that. We've seen some fantastic results for people that you wouldn't expect. Like, how many people have we actually had on the podium? We've had a lot.
8.
We had 8 people on the podium after 5 races, which is out of 13 is insane, to be honest. So that's Civilista, Belov, the Professional has, and then Brown hasn't as well.
Shane, Callum, Mazais, Pepper, Hammer Time, Dan, Professional,
and
Vettel and Prost. Wait, that's not 8. 1, 2, 3, 4.
We're experiencing
5,
some technical
6, 7,
difficulties.
8, 9.
9 out of 13 people on the podium, which is a bit insane, to be honest with you, after 5 races. But yeah, it just shows how close the league is, and obviously the fact that the points are so close from basically 3rd downwards, and that we've got a good looking battle for the championship going on as well, shows that even more.
Yeah, it's interesting that Brown, though, he's in 6th, and he's the top driver without a podium yet.
Yeah, he's consistent, I guess. I suppose you could say about that.
Yeah.
He's not finished on the podium, but he's got a 4th, a 5th, and another 5th, and like another 4th. So he's done quite well consistency-wise. He just needs to step on the podium, and then he'll take it to the next level, and then maybe actually get fully stuck in that battle for 3rd in the championship.
Yeah, maybe. And just taking a quick look at constructors, obviously, who else would be leading? Williams with 166 points. Ferrari in 2nd with 105, 61 points behind. Then Red Bull in 3rd with 74. Sauber with 62, Mercedes with 48, Caterham with 35, and Lotus in last with 14 points. It's quite a big gap again for the Williams.
It's dominant, isn't it? After this point, and it doesn't really. I haven't seen anything that would suggest it's going to get smaller before the end of the season. Really, I think that gap could just keep extending. Forever. No, not forever, but you know what I mean. Ferrari are sitting, fairly pretty in 2nd. They look pretty good at the moment. Mazais and Pepper across the season have done a very good job. They're 3rd and 4th in the championship. A good battle though from 3rd down to 6th. Red Bull, Sauber, Mercedes, and Caterham look pretty interchangeable every single race. And then Lotus down there in 7th. They probably wouldn't be if they had a 2nd driver, but unfortunately, Sevalista is the only representative.
No, wait.
Oh, hello.
We have something.
We have something.
Completely forgot about that.
Everyone, shut up. We have something.
We have something. We have news. The news is we have a second driver for Lotus now.
Get in there.
It's a former AOR driver who drove in with James in a different league, and it's Chaos Jordan. He'll be joining Silverstone on the Lotus from Silverstone onwards. So maybe we'll have Lotus back into business.
Hey, maybe. So there we go. I'm glad I said that now. But yeah, Lotus could get straight back in the fight then. So we might have a battle from like 3rd down to 7th then in that case, with Lotus finally having a second driver. How nice is that?
Yeah. It's I mean, Lotus seemed to have a bit of issues with salaries, maybe. That's why they didn't get a second driver.
I reckon that's what it is. It's monetary issues. That's the problem.
But they did sign Jordan now, so I'm sure. I think everyone really is happy to get another driver, which now completes the grid. If Beloff decides to come back.
Beloff, where are you? Come back, please. We miss you so.
But yeah, nevertheless, we do have a 14 driver grid now. It's just a matter of everyone showing up from now on. But I don't know. I mean, it's always exciting to have a new driver. And
never know what's going to happen.
I mean, Jordan. I mean, probably won't be up there right away, but I was told at least he was pretty good, pretty consistent. So who knows? Maybe like fighting for consistent top 5s, maybe top 10s at first, but I don't know. I'm excited to have a full grid finally.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good to see him. Plus, there's always just the mystery factor of having a new driver in general. We had that at the start of the season because there were so many new people coming in.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's nice to have someone come in the middle of the season, maybe shake things up a little bit and take it to whoever is doing the winning. I mean, maybe not in this case, but yeah, still nice to see a random new guy come in and see what they can do.
I'm just afraid I do believe he's British.
With a name like Jordan, most likely.
But
I
yeah,
vouch for that.
That's too much rambling already. So that's the German Grand Prix once again. If you haven't seen the race, I think you should, because it was a really good one. But now we have a new Grand Prix in hands. I don't know. Do you want to tell us more about it, Niran, since you're closest to it?
I'm close. Yeah, it's closest to my heart. No, yeah. Silverstone is the next Grand Prix, obviously.
Hello and welcome to England, where we're going to go on board with this Caterham for a lap of the Silverstone circuit as we make our way down towards turn number 1 at Abbey, which is flat out in qualifying trim, and then of course Farm turn 2 very easily flat out in just about any conditions whatsoever. Then the hairpin, right-handed hairpin, and through the arena we go. Very low speed corners there, and then running a bit off of the circuit as we prepare to make our way through the first DRS zone as the wing is wide open now, making our way into 7th gear now and heading down towards Brooklands, where we will be taking a very late apex and braking very late as well, braking and turning all at the same time, staying to the middle of the circuit at the exit and give yourself a good run into Luffield, which is a very, very long right-hand corner. You're just turning, and then you can finally get on the throttle, and it's full throttle, of course, through Woodkit. No problems through there. Barely a corner at all for these Formula 1 cars, and then cops down into 6th gear briefly on this occasion to help keep ourselves on the circuit and from running off the circuit as we make our way now towards the very twisty, very tight, very fast Maggots Beckett section and make our way down towards Chapel now, and then through the second DRS zone as the wing once again is open as we make our way down towards Stowe. A fantastic overtaking opportunity for the drivers, very possibly where we'll be seeing the majority of the overtakes during the races, up the hill and then down the hill at the exit of the corner as we make our way down towards Vale in the final few corners of this circuit. Stay to the middle of the track, get through the right-hander, let it run out a little bit wide, and then the final corner can be very tricky in the race, but during qualifying, no problem at all, and that is a lap of Silverstone.
We travel to Silverstone, back to Britain for the next round of the AOR season, and from the stats and from the facts that we've had for the majority of this AOR talk show so far, it is, you know, British drivers do tend to dominate. It's a fairly British dominated league. I mean, there's obviously drivers that aren't British. We've got quite a few. There's like Mazais, Brown, etc. Loads of Argentinians this year, but the main bulk, usually half the grid, is British. So we do tend to get a bit of a British overload when it comes to facts and drivers just generally doing well. That could happen again. We obviously got the likes of Dan, the likes of Callum and Shane and Hammer Time all fighting to do well at their home Grand Prix in Silverstone. And it could be a pretty exciting race, to be honest with you. Silverstone's quite a good track for sort of entertainment on this game.
Yeah, and it has its good amount of technical parts on the circuit, but obviously it has a very nice flow, especially through the old layout. And I mean, everyone claims it's a very bad track, but nevertheless, apart from that, I mean, I think everyone really enjoys driving around that track, and it does allow a lot of overtaking and a lot of fighting. And I mean, since we're talking about Great Britain, we always need to consider rain.
This is very true. I can vouch for this. I mean, it is 70% of the year there's rain in the air somewhere along the lines in Britain. I think on this game, Britain is pretty prone to getting some changeable weather, so we're probably going to see some wet weather at some stage during the race. I'd be very surprised if it was literally clear blue skies the whole time.
Yeah, and it would add...
It's one of the tracks like Malaysia where you just get so much rain.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we would welcome rain after all. I mean, we only had it in Austin so far, but Britain also adds a bit of an extra factor to the driver to really like put some effort into his driving and really fight for something. I mean, I don't know if I don't know what to expect from this race really, because looking at the past and looking at the standings, it kind of contradicts things. So
yeah,
it's I don't know.
It's a technically difficult track. Like, everyone loves Cops and then Maggots and Beckett's complex, and then the Hanger Straight, and everything about the old layout. But it is a really technically difficult track. So unless you're if you're very good at the track, then it doesn't necessarily mean you're the best racer in the league. You just happen to be better, with setups, or just happen to be better at that track. So it's there's a lot of variety when it comes to results, I would imagine, in comparison to the actual table. It's not just going to be guaranteed Williams v Williams, although now I've said that, it probably will be, but it's not guaranteed. Because it's just one of those tracks, you either like it or you don't when it comes to driving it, but everyone can admire it.
Yeah, absolutely. And to just help you develop a bit of taste for what may happen at the British Grand Prix, we now have our facts, isn't it, Niran? And luckily for me, who was writing them, it's not very British based.
Yes,
so I'm happy with that.
We've had a ton of British domination, haven't we? And then suddenly when we get to Britain, there's none. Yeah, we bottle it quite a lot at home Grand Prix, don't we? But yeah, anyway. As we get into the facts, we get into number one then.
Yeah, so in 6 Grand Prix we had at Silverstone, for 4 times we had a British winner, so it's still a bit of a big ratio for Britain drivers, but at least it wasn't 6 wins.
Exactly. Let's look at the positives here. I mean, 4 British winners in 6 at Silverstone. I think that's probably a fairly similar ratio to any of the other Grand Prix that we've had. So yeah. It won't suggest that we're automatically guaranteed a British winner because it's the British Grand Prix. But it would, I don't know, from a home sort of selfish perspective, it would be quite nice to see a Britain win the British Grand Prix. I always feel that in real life. So
God damn it, Niran.
You know what? Usually I do stick up with the whole Britain takeover. I'm not happy, but for this one Grand Prix, maybe I will be. But yeah, so 4 out of 6 times we've seen a British winner at Silverstone. But yeah, fact number 2 then. I've already had one driver manage to start on pole and win the race in season 5. This is a pretty similar. What similar? Hang on. Yeah, I was going to say similar. Why did I say similar? I don't have a lisp. Similar. This is a fairly similar vibe. I think I was going to say similar thing, and I just mixed it. Anyway, a similar vibe. I've killed Pepper, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to do this solo now. It's a pretty similar vibe to the rest of the season we've had so far, is that people just generally can't hold on to pole positions. We had it in Germany, Vettel took pole and didn't win the race. It's fairly commonplace. But at Silverstone, where there's so much overtaking, I guess it's understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, like, if we have mixed conditions for one session and different ones for the race, it also can mix up things quite a lot. So, well, I'm hoping at least we have one mixed session in terms of weather conditions, but we'll have to wait and see for Sunday. Nevertheless, fact number 3, there was only 2 sessions in Silverstone where there was rain, and they were both qualifying sessions. So I do think that we don't like, Codemasters doesn't like to have rain at Silverstone during the race, but hopefully that will change for season 11.
Yeah, we're about due some wet conditions, aren't we, in the race? That can only be a matter of time before that changes, surely, hint.
I mean, where's the realism?
Yeah, exactly. Where is the realism? Like, if this was real life, it would have rained, like, out of 12 sessions, it would probably been 9 where it would have been rain affected.
Yeah.
Like, 2 sessions is a joke, Codemasters, sort it out. But yeah, anyway, seriously. We would like to see some rain in the wet, so oh, what's happened? Yeah. I am tired, I'm so tired. Some rain in the race, some wet in the race, I don't know. Anything. I'm beyond caring now. Anything. Yeah, I'm gonna go to sleep.
No, first introduce to fact number 4, please.
Alright, fact number 4, if I can actually speak English today. Toro Rosso and Sauber have 2 wins each at the British track, with McLaren and Lotus being the other 2 winners. I almost messed that up, but not quite. Yeah, so Toro Rosso and Sauber. I think we've seen quite a lot of Toro Rosso winners and Sauber winners in the past. The Iceman used to race for Sauber, didn't he, or something like that. But yeah, no Toro Rosso's on the grid anymore. That's so sad. I always think that when I see a fact about Toro Rosso.
Yeah. I mean, technically, like, in terms of the reality that is Formula, we don't usually see that much of a Toro Rosso, but it seems in AOR it was kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
So it is a bit sad to not see Toro Rosso, but then again we have Caterham back. We don't have McLaren. We don't have Lotus. We have Mercedes back. So it keeps changing for some reason. And it's always nice to see different colours in the grid, but yeah, I think Toro Rosso and Sauber have been winning a lot in these recent days, in these recent facts, but obviously we can still have a Sauber win, but it will, I don't know, maybe we'll have a new constructor winning, I would say.
Yeah, I reckon so as well.
But going for fact number 5, Season 10 got the best British qualifying result ever, putting 4 of their 8 drivers of that season on the top 4.
But yeah, that's domination, to be fair. A front 2-row lockout of British drivers at the British Grand Prix is a bit mad, to be honest with you. And 8 British drivers in that season.
That's half of the field.
That is insane. Yeah. That's probably, well, it's even more than half, isn't it? Usually there's 14 drivers, I guess. But like, man, that's incredible.
That's
but, yeah,
too many.
So, that's too many. I don't like that. That's not good. But yeah, I very highly doubt we'll get that again this season. I'd be very surprised if we got a front 2-row lockout of British. Maybe you might see front row lockout of British drivers, but I doubt you'll see top 4.
Yeah. Let's hope not, for the sake of diversity.
For the sake of everyone else. Yeah, fact number 6 then. The worst result for a British driver at Silverstone is a 3rd place in Season 8. Well, the best qualifying on that season for a Brit was 5th. So, yeah, Season 8 was not a good time for Brits at their home Grand Prix. I'm guessing that's the worst result for a highest finishing British driver. Yeah. I'd be very... Yeah, that's good. Because if every British driver has come above 3rd, then that's not on at all. Anyway, yeah, so again, that season where we didn't have a single Brit on the front row and none on the top or second step of the podium is a bit of a surprise. I'd be surprised if that happened as well, actually, to be honest with you, in our race. At least gives some room for some diversity, but I'd be still shocked if that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind, but
personally,
personally, I wouldn't mind. But obviously, for the sake of a championship, I think Dan will want to get on the top step, and so is everyone, which isn't first and second on the championship really at this moment. But nevertheless, going to the next fact and staying with the qualifying. The biggest qualifying gap from first to second was in season 5, where the pole sitter managed to secure a staggering 1.095 seconds over second, while the smallest margin was, ironically, on the next season, season 6, with C2GI getting pole by less than a tenth.
That's incredible. I still don't understand how you can set pole by a second, a whole second. That's ridiculous. It's a long track, it's a long lap, but still, a whole second is insanity. And then, I mean, the smallest is 900, you'd expect that around, like, to be the smallest gap around a track that's as long as Silverstone. You won't be getting, like, 5,000th of a second gaps like you might get at, like, Austria or something.
Don't challenge us.
Yeah, maybe, you never know, these guys might break the record, but, yeah, a whole second is stupidly long. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get that anytime soon, at least with this grid. Luckily for us, at least. But I do believe we can break that 90,000 difference. I don't know why, but I have a feeling.
Yeah, I reckon so. I don't see why not. This is probably the closest grid we've had in a while. So, even if it's just between the two Williams, they're both very, close together when it comes to one lap pace. So I don't see why not.
Yeah.
After that, then I suppose we've got fact number 8 from the current top 3 in the constructors. Red Bull has the most podiums with 3 at Silverstone, followed by Williams with 2 and Ferrari with 1. Apart from third in season 6, all the podiums were a second place, which is an interest. I think the end of that stat makes it a really good one, because like every single podium has been a second place. It's just very weird. It's just very strange. Could come first and third if he chose, but no, second place every time.
I mean, Red Bull that third place gave him the third podium, so that makes sense. But yeah. I mean, none of them has won yet at Silverstone, and I mean, obviously Williams wants to do it because obviously the lineup they have and it's their home Grand Prix.
Yeah.
But I think Ferrari and Red Bull are quite desperate to catch up as well.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know. I think it will be just like a complete free for all, especially in the first lap and qualifying.
Yeah. Red Bull and Williams. No, not Red Bull and Williams. Red Bull and Ferrari definitely need the podiums. Definitely need wins, in all honesty, from now on. To be honest, because otherwise it's going to be getting a little tasty, but only between one manufacturer for the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah. Going to the penultimate fact now, Dan, who had a slightly less good comeback than what he would hope for, got his first AOR win last year here at Silverstone.
He'll have very good memories of this track. Getting his first win, and his home Grand Prix. Yeah. It's written in the stars, isn't it? It's nice. I like that.
I mean, it's always special to win a race, but to win it, the first one at your home track, especially after that race where he had to defend from Callum the last 8 laps or something like that. I mean, it turns out to be quite special because you don't simply defend Callum like you defend any other driver.
Yeah, that's a decent effort. So he'll be hoping for. I'm guessing he'll be obviously he'll be hoping for a similar outcome at this time round, but he probably needs it. That would get him well back up into the fight for third.
And if he does, he'll be the first to win the British Grand Prix twice.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. There's a bonus fact for you.
Yeah.
We've not had someone win. To be fair, I don't think we've had many people win one race twice, but actually, maybe. I don't know.
We had a couple.
Yeah, Dan will definitely be hoping to break that record.
Yeah.
Anyway, the 10th and final fact of today's video is that there was a total of 20 different British drivers racing at Silverstone, totaling 32 British appearances across the, 6 seasons that we've had of this league in AOR. Just to sum up how many British drivers we have in this league, 20. Probably Argentina's second with the amount of Argentinians we've got on the grid this year. But I don't know what nationality would come after that, or even come close to that.
Well, close, none of them will, but...
no, I don't think so. But,
I think maybe United States? I don't know, I think it would be pretty close between Spain, United States, and Greece or Germany.
Yeah, Germany's probably a good shout, actually.
But
wow, 32 British appearances at Silverstone.
That's literally 2 16 grids.
Jeez, worth of British drivers.
That's 2 full lobbies.
Can you imagine a 32 car F1 grid as well? Jesus Christ. Be carnage, especially if it was British drivers at the British Grand Prix.
Oh, of course.
Flipping Nora. God, we don't even want to get into that. That's a scary thing.
Yeah, I'm going to have nightmares now.
End the facts here before we all have nightmares.
We are all going to have nightmares now. But yeah, that's our facts wrapped up, and here comes the legit worst part of the talk show, where me and Niran like to shout out completely wrong predictions.
Oh god, I completely forgot about this bit. Ah, Jesus, I'm gonna be so bad. I'll just get straight into it. Let's get straight into it.
Nah, I'll give you. I mean, you're the homeboy as well, so you start.
Okay, alright, well, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to not push the boat out whatsoever, and I'm going to say that Callum is going to get pole. As I think I've said for like the last 3 Grand Prix and have been let down every time. But I'm going to stick to it until it actually happens. Surely it's going to happen at some point, and then I'll change. Now, the win is a totally different matter. At least Callum's a good guess when it comes to qualifying, because his 1 lap pace is always sick. But when it comes to the race, oh man. I'm not going to go for Prost because it will just disconnect, probably, if I say it. Maybe it'll be a good luck charm if I don't choose Prost, so I'm not going to choose Prost. I'm going to say that Callum is going to win. Callum is going to win from Shane, and it's going to be Mazais in 3rd. Boom. Come at me.
Putting a Ferrari on the podium, that's interesting.
Yeah, well, I like to push the boat out occasionally.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I don't know.
I mean, it's not fun if you don't risk it.
Exactly. And plus, if Callum wins from Shane, it means it's like a 2-point or like 3-point gap in the title. Like, I'm playing it for the championship race.
Yeah.
So if that happens, I'll be saying Shane next time to make it close again.
Yeah. Well, what am I going to do is, for Paul, I'm going to pick Shane.
Okay.
For the win, I don't want to pick Williams. I really don't.
Vested interest.
Let's bet on Callum as well. Why not? Second place. Prost. Why not?
Oh no, you've doomed me. You've doomed Prost. If you're watching, we're really sorry. Actually, to be fair, I don't think you've ever predicted him, so that might be a good luck charm.
Yeah. And third place will be to Dan.
Ooh. So, wait, so who did you say would win?
Callum.
Callum. So no Shane on the podium.
No Shane on the podium.
Ooh.
That's a big statement.
That would be massive. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see and find out what happens, but it's going to be a sick Grand Prix. We've not had a bad Grand Prix, I swear, this season.
No, but I think I have a feeling that we'll have like probably one of the best Grand Prix at Silverstone. I don't know why, but I really do. Alright, so now that the facts are over, the moment some of you may be waiting for, others probably just forgot about it, but nevertheless, if you do remember, last 2 weeks ago, we left something in the air that we would be announcing something this week that would bring a new section to this talk show, let's say, and I'll let Niran announce and just, I don't know, go for it.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, we sort of left you on a bit of a cliffhanger last time when it comes to what this announcement would actually be. But what we're going to be doing from this Sunday, so from the British Grand Prix, is we are going to be, or I am technically, but we're going to be interviewing some of the drivers before the race actually starts. So a bit of a pre-race press conference, if you like, and sort of get 3 or 4 drivers together. We'll stream it on Pepper's channel from about 7 o'clock, so obviously we'll have to finish it before the race starts. That's sort of, you know, can't still be asking them questions whilst they're driving down to turn 1. But can you imagine? Anyway,
that would be funny.
So for about half an hour maybe beforehand, we'll ask some questions to some of the drivers in the sort of press conference style. It'll be streamed on Pepper's channel from about 7 o'clock, so you can watch it there if you are so inclined. And I guess if there's any questions that anyone has for any of the drivers, then feel free to drop them in the comments section.
Yeah.
I can ask them for you. But other than that, I'll try and make up some of my own that will be fairly entertaining for you guys. And yeah, that is what we're going to be doing. It's a bit of an extended sort of AOR Talkshow live press conference type thing. It's a bit of a spin-off, isn't it, really?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not the actual main talk show, but it's a bit of a spin-off live stream press conference for you guys to enjoy before the race and before qualifying actually starts.
And of
so
course,
you guys are enjoying that.
You can always do that, and since it's a live stream, that's the good thing about it. You can always, like, imagine if you forgot Niran's I don't know, tweeting about the questions you wanted to ask, maybe you missed the tweet or something, you can be there and you can always ask the questions there, which always, I mean, kind of works like that, and you can always make your predictions there as well. So yeah. It's really something to, obviously, to put you together to us, basically, on the commentary box, and also the drivers. So it's I don't know, I think it's a cool way to just involve you guys on what AOR is and what this talk show is and what it means to us. So I think it will be a very interesting way of starting the weekend in such a way. But obviously, looking at some drivers, I want to see how Niran deals with the banter.
I will try my best.
I
will try my best.
But yeah, that's our announcement. I hope you are excited for this. I know I am, and I'm sure Niran is as well. So I don't know. Just let us know what your predictions are for the British Grand Prix already, and of course don't forget us to join around 7 on Sunday. There we go. It's I don't know, it will be a first, so don't expect it to be perfect. It won't be, especially
it definitely will not be. No. If I'm asking the questions, it definitely won't be.
But nevertheless, I think that's our talk show done and dusted. Obviously, we're talking about, you can ask us any question on Twitter, on Niran's Twitter and on mine as well. It will be in the description. And if Niran wants to add anything else,
well, just thank you guys for watching. If you've got this far, then I think this is one of the longest talk shows we've done. Then flipping fair play to you for that, because yeah, round of applause definitely required for that. But yeah, it's thank you guys for watching. As always, it's been a pleasure to join Pepper for this talk show. And again, if you've got any thoughts about what we've announced, any questions for it, any predictions for the race in Britain, and do feel free to drop them in the comment section below. I massively appreciate it. If you've enjoyed, then hit the likes button. If you're new to Pepper's channel, press subscribe, and we will see you soon, I guess.
More specifically, in 2 days' time.
Oh yeah, not even a week. Oh my god, it's 2 days. Yes, boom shakalaka.